This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome back to another edition, the Monday editions of Dolynny TV Edmonton Oilers coverage here on the channel. And let me tell you, a day where, well, once again, we get teased about Evan Bouchard. Oh, it's coming. Can't you smell it coming? It's coming soon. It's pretty soon, pretty soon. That seems to be the only words that Dave Tippett knows how to use to describe Dave Tippett's use of Evan Bouchard in the Oilers lineup. It's going to happen pretty soon. Well, the season debut is still on hold, may happen tomorrow. We saw today Alex Chiasson is on waivers. That is why you see that in the title of the video. Did not address that with the Darnell Nurse video. Should have went to but whatever. Anyway, straight to the point is the fact that that clears one spot for Evan Bouchard. The other spot you still have to clear because we have 8 defensemen on the roster. You either have to move Legason back to the taxi squad or move Stuart Skinner back to the taxi squad for the next game against Ottawa. So stay tuned, pay attention, because over the next couple days here, the Oilers are either going to make a move for one of those two players, if not both of them, to go on to the taxi squad, right? Because Chiasson could still be activated as well. We currently find ourselves with a day in between games and then 3 days off until we face Calgary on Saturday, February 6th. So tomorrow, the last home game until we face Calgary, Ottawa, and Montreal on the road until February 15th when we return back to Edmonton. So we have to keep that in mind, is the fact that we're going to go some time without being at home, and that wasn't so fine and dandy to us, but it was enough to keep the season afloat to let us win the last 2 games. Ottawa tomorrow night, right? So we've got the rest of today to see a potential move be made. Likely not, because it won't be factored in until tomorrow anyway, so they'll just make it before cutoff at, I think it's noon Eastern or 2 Eastern, noon Mountain Time, for the taxi squad to be activated to get Evan Bouchard into the lineup. But once again, this the frustrating part is it's only a tease. It's only a little bit about Evan Bouchard. Pretty soon the quotes as we get looking forward to seeing Evan Bouchard make his season debut after absolutely lighting up things with Soderger in the Hockey Elves Svenskan. So we look forward to hopefully seeing him soon. But with that said, to make that room, of course, Alex Chiasson is on waivers. And my friends, if you're new to the channel right now, you may want to consider hitting the subscribe button and sticking around to find out if he clears waivers or if he doesn't. I'll have that story for you tomorrow in the pre-game update, and then we'll do the live stream and we'll get into tomorrow night's hockey game and the intermission updates. So, where do we find ourselves? Well, we find ourselves, this Oilers squad, with a lot of key pieces in the bottom 6 that are interchangeable. About the only guy on the bottom 6 that isn't interchangeable is James Neal, Zach Kassian. I think even to an extent Kyle Turris at this point of the season is interchangeable now that Gaetan Oss is back in the lineup. So you have a complete fourth line that in out, right? Josh Archibald, yeah, we love him to death. He's a great player, but I think still, even at this point of his career, he's a guy that could miss a game, 2, 3, or 4 throughout the season based on the depth we had. Today, Mr. Dave Tippett, head coach of the Oilers, praising Alex Chiasson in his strong game for the Oilers against Ottawa. Again, I just saw him missing pucks on the power play, but right, your eyes glaze over when you watch the team play for however long just on TV. If you don't see things up close and personal in real life, you can't sit there and totally knock it when you're not making sense of exactly what's going on away from the lens of the camera that's on the puck. So, Alex Chiasson, a strong game, and now finds himself on waivers just purposely to allow that flexibility between the taxi squad. And if at all worse, similar to Tyler Ennis going on waivers, it's $2.1 million of salary freed up, and like I said, with that flexibility in the bottom 6, he's not a guy with James Neal now fully back healthy and ready to go that the Oilers are necessarily going to miss. If they need that right-hand shot on the power play, they've got Puljujarvi, who produces the exact same capabilities as Alex Chiasson in front of the net on the power play as a right-hand shot. You've got Kyler Yamamoto, who's a completely different complexion player, and heck, I'm still not sure why the Oilers are so scared to allow Zach Kassian the opportunity to play on the power play in a secondary unit role should they not have Alex Chiasson available. So there's a couple of options here for the Oilers as we get things rolling into the next several games, and number one starts with the flexibility of hopefully having Chiasson on the taxi squad. That also reduces the cap hit over the course of the year, and there are just a numerous amount of benefits if he's not claimed. But if he is claimed, that $2.1 million in salary cap is incredibly handy, especially once Mike Smith comes off the LTIR here in the next week or two, who was also Mike Smith apparently on the ice from a text message I received today. I'm yet to corroborate that story, but I guess some things are just best left unfound. But I guess right now, as we find it, for the Oilers, you know what? An interesting situation developing is things are back on track as best as they can be back on track when you're below 500. Instead of being, 3-8, we are now 5-6. That's a big turn of events, winning the past two. We've got one more game against Ottawa, and then we go into Calgary, in which, remember that exhibition game in the bubble, the Oilers looked good in that game compared to the other four games against the Chicago Blackhawks, in which we got booted out of the playoffs right away. So why not expect a good game out of that Calgary game, especially two squads that haven't liked their start so far to begin the season. So that'll really be an interesting matchup there. And right, you've got the intrigue tomorrow of Chiasson on waivers. Does he get claimed? What about Evan Bouchard? Does he get called up? Who goes back to the taxi squad? All these numerous things, and this is the beauty of playing every second day generally this season, is there is no time, no shortage of storylines, because there is no time to react. As soon as one storyline happens, you're already reacting to the next one that just came down the pipe 5 seconds ago while you were reading that storyline that started your morning. So it's fantastic, and I'm very much so looking forward to things heating up as we keep going. We're through a fifth of the season. 11 games is 20% of the season, and the Oilers are tied for a playoff spot right now as it stands, despite everything that's happened so far. So for the Oilers, that's a major win. Secondarily to that, as long as Montreal doesn't win tonight, we are technically 2 points out of second place in the Scotia North Division. My goodness, who would have thought that after being 3-6 3 days ago, right? Craziness is as craziness does early on in this Canadian North Division, but it's something that we have so much time to look forward to through the first week of May. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully another storyline gets crossed off the Oilers season, right? Stuart Skinner got his first NHL win, start, and everything last night. Now it's time to see Evan Bouchard get that big ol' season started for us tomorrow night, hopefully against the Ottawa Senators. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. I am up on out of here.